Hey guys, this is Sam from the Privateers team. So in this video, I'm going to take you through how to use conditions and probability in your events to make a bunch more interesting things happen or to add some randomness so that the replayability of the event is much better. So we're going to go ahead and start here with a blank canvas. So I'm just going to create a new event, and it doesn't really matter what it's called. Call it condition test. And then I'm just going to fill in garbage for all the tavern stuff. Um, but then the first thing that I want to talk about is reputation. So in the tavern, reputation can take effect as well. So what reputation is when you do good things, you gain reputation, and when you do bad things, you lose reputation, and you can go into the negative. And if you have very positive reputation, then you're a hero. And if you have very negative reputation, then you're like a pirate or a pirate lord or something like that. So reputation can be used to adjust how people react to you in events. So if you have high reputation, then the Navy would act favorably to you and the pirates negatively. And if you have very low reputation, then pirates might react more favorably or give you new options, and the Navy would be very aggressive with you. So it should change how events play out. So the first place that it takes effect is in the tavern when you're getting your events. So here, this required rep, if we set this to something like, say, 40, this would mean your reputation has to be above 40 before this would ever show up in the tavern. Or I could set it to negative 40. This would mean your reputation has to be below negative 40 for it to show up. So if it's an event that's sort of given by a sleazy character, you might need a low reputation before he would give it to you. Or if it's by some Navy general, maybe you need high reputation before he'd give it to you. So, and then the other thing is that even taking something in the tavern can affect your reputation. So if you're talking to somebody sleazy, he says you should do something terrible, then you might say the reputation change is negative 10 just for accepting that. Negative 10 is quite a bit reputation change. Probably you'd do something like 3 to 5. So even though you didn't do the event, just talking to him has negatively affected your reputation. Okay, so this is one way that you can add another dynamic into your events. So then let's go on and look at a couple other places where reputation can take effect. So if I add a start dialogue, and we just go, here it begins, and then I add one response, and here in the response, I can have reputation change as well. So I could say something like, I am a hero, and then the reputation changes plus 10. And then I could add another response that says, I am terrible, and the reputation changes negative 10. And then, usually you want to give people the options, like a variety of options. So maybe I'll have a third response that says, who cares? And there's no reputation change, so that the user has control in this event to kind of manage their reputation, and that will affect the outcome of the event, right? So this is kind of how reputation affects things. There's one more angle to it, which is in the response. There's this button for add condition, and this is where you can add conditions upon whether the response will show up or not. So let's add another response. We'll put it down here, and on this one we'll add a condition. And now you can see you can make conditions based on gold, reputation, or having a certain type of crew or a certain item in your possession. Item we'll kind of skip because this was for some old stuff that we're not really doing anymore. But here, if I put like 200, that means that the player would have to pay 200 gold to choose this to choose this response. So maybe, I'm bribing my way out of a bad situation. I would pay 200 gold to get out of it. Or you can have your crew type, like if you have a specific crew type in your crew, then you can use it for something. So say, if I have a picaroon, then I might be able to sneak aboard somebody's ship and steal something. Or if I have a monk, then I might be able to heal somebody and get them to do something nice, right? So, this response will only appear for the user if they have that particular type of crew member, right? So this adds a special dynamic that encourages people to try and keep a variety of different crew types. And then there's reputation. So you can set a range of reputation. So I could say only if you're between 30 and 70, or it could be negative 30 and negative 70, you would then get this option would show up. So usually this is like Pirates, if you have a bad reputation, there might be some new options for how you can interact with them. Or Navy, if you have a high reputation, there might be some new options for how you can interact with them. So this gives some dynamics to how the players previously been playing the game. New options for the events sort of open up to them. And so it's encouraged to kind of use this reputation a bunch in the events so that player choices sort of have an effect on sort of the outcome of that player. They can either choose to kind of become a hero or become a pirate lord or try and stay neutral throughout the game. Okay, so this is really important. This is the reputation, and then also like these conditions that bring in special responses, special ways that you could interact with the event that you normally wouldn't be able to. So another thing that I wanted to talk about here is consequences. So for instance, if you take let's take this negative one. I'm terrible, and we add a dialogue here. Yes, you are. Add a response. Okay, and in this dialogue node, we talked a little bit in the first video about how you can add an award. And if you add an award, then some good things will come to the user when they hit this dialogue path. You can give them some gold or some potions or items or anything, really. There's another option, which is to add consequences. So these are negative things that happen based on this dialogue path. So you can make them lose gold, lose potions, random crew members can die, they can lose items. So things like that can happen to them. The most common one's going to be probably losing gold or having a crew member die as a negative consequence of ending up down a particular path in the chain, right? Another so we talked about consequences, we talked about the different conditions for following a response. The last thing that I want to talk about in this video is probability. So you'll notice in this response, when I click this response, I go to this dialogue, but I can actually add multiple nodes here. So I can add another dialogue, and in this one I can say no big deal, add a response, okay. So now I have two possible dialogues out of one response, and I can give them each a probability. So we can give them both 0.5, which means you have a 50% chance of landing on either of these when you pick this. And so I could say here, like, one random crew member dies, right? And down here, I give an award. You get one crew member, right? So if you pick this path, what we've made is you come in here, when you pick this path, you lose 10 reputation, and you based on that, you'll either gain or lose a crew member, right? So that's kind of what we've built here. Or, this one down here, like we can change this to say only if you have a Corsair in your group, then we can add a dialogue that goes straight to the positive, the getting a crew member. You don't have to worry about the losing path. So here, I'll put this here. So now you can kind of see if you have a Corsair, then there's this special option that says, but I am strong, and that will take you straight over to this other node that guarantees that you gain a crew. You're not gambling anymore. So you see how you can add some probability, but also use certain conditions to give people edges based on choices they made in the past in the game. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save this as condition test.xml. Let's save that. Hopefully that showed up. Okay, yeah, we got that there now. And then let's go ahead and test it out and see if things are working. Hopefully they are. So here comes privateers. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Oh, well, this is a really old build. That's not what I want. I want this one. Okay. Okay, test event, and I called it condition test. And what did I name it? We named the event also condition test. Start. Okay, so here we are. So right away you can say I'm a hero, I get 10 rep, or I lose 10 rep, or who cares, no rep cost, or but I am strong because I do have the correct class type in order to trigger this, of course air. So I have this option. So if I click this, I should get a crew. But if I click this, I'll have a random chance. Let's see what happens on random chance. Oh, I hit the Peter's dreaded and died. So there goes one of my crew members. He just died. So if we do it again, we pick the same path. If I'm lucky, oh no, death again. Let's try it a couple times. See if we can hit the path where. Come on, probability. Oopsies. Okay, I'm hitting death every time, but anyways, that's how it's supposed to work. Or let's do one more test. Let's go, but I'm strong. Oh, I did get crew full a couple times there. The problem is that I can only fit 3 crew members. It's saying my crew's full, so I didn't get a new crew. So yeah, it's both ways is working, but you have to have space on your ship in order to get a new crew member. So there we go. That's how you can use reputation and conditions and probability in order to add a huge amount of variety to the kind of events you can make. And we really do encourage doing a lot of this probability where events can go multiple ways, even for the same response. So this really adds a really great degree of replayability. And it's also, I think, the specifically having the classes play a part in what options you can choose is really great for, you know, replayability and giving people new ways to play the same content. So thanks for taking a look, and I'm excited to see what you guys come up with playing around with this.